fact, a destructive process.
That is right, and welcome to What the Bones Say, ladies, gentlemen, and other.
That's
Welcome.
True. Whoever you are, man. Welcome
Whoever
to
you
this.
are, we're happy. So, tonight we are going to be talking about, or today, whatever time you are listening, I'm not as organized as Robert, can't you tell? We're going to be talking about Goofs and Gaffs. Cody.
Goofs and gaffs.
Take it away.
That's true. Have you ever goofed? Have you ever gaffed? Have you ever felt ashamed or embarrassed? Well, good, because this episode is for you. I, my friends, have felt all of those things many a time.
It's true.
Yeah. So tonight we're going to talk about stories that, from our TTRPG escapades, of some silliness that we've all experienced. And am I speaking into this right?
Yeah, you are.
Okay.
And, I think we've all experienced a little bit of silliness in our lives.
You've
right?
experienced silliness?
Yeah, we've experienced silliness, haven't we?
That's marvelous. Sage, have you experienced any goofage?
Never. Never once have I laughed.
Well, you're a filthy damn liar.
Oh, yeah?
And you're not funny.
You were giggling earlier when you were chanting my name over and over again.
You have no evidence of this.
I don't, and I'm upset about it.
And the only evidence you had was deleted.
Yeah. Okay, I'm going to tell a story.
Okay.
So, I'm going to lead with quite the gaff. Not a goof. This was not a goof situation. This story turned a D&D table into the Survivor Islands. And someone got voted off. So what happened, we were playing a sci-fi game in D20, I think it was D20 Future. And our crew, we're invading some kind of alien space station. And one of the players at the table was up to no good. So, we'd roll initiative, we'd roll attacks, we'd do skill checks throughout that entire thing. And everyone's rolling. But we have one kid at the table who every time we ask him what he rolls, he gets a nat 20. Now, my friends, I don't got to tell you that the probability of that happening is bad. So eventually the DM starts questioning this. What happened? Why?
Nothing. You just made a face and it was...
Oh, I thought a burp was going to come out, and then the burp never came.
Got it. Okay,
And so
please continue.
I just made the face.
Yeah.
I'm sorry no one at home could see that. Maybe one day we'll have a
It
camera
was like
in here.
he was trying to suck down a lemon, but he wasn't able to.
It's just...
If that helps the people at home describe it.
It's like those old, what is it called? Warheads, right? It's
Yeah,
Warheads.
yeah.
It's like one of those old Warhead commercials where it's
Yeah.
like the kid has it and they like explode. The face that Cody just made was the face of like pre-explosion.
Sorry, every now and then, like, my brain realizes it's alive and it screams. That's what that face was. So, like, the DM in this game realized that something was afoot. So he starts paying attention to the person in question every time he rolls in that 20. And what the DM ends up realizing is every time he rolls, he just, like, puts his hand on the D20 and then takes it off. And is like, oh, I got a nat 20. And, like, eventually everyone gets really sick of this, and the DM calls him out for it, and he's like, I don't know what you were talking about. And then the DM has us all vote on whether or not we keep him in the game, and we all voted he leave the island.
Damn.
So it was like Survivor after all.
It was. Like, I've never seen someone so brazenly cheat before.
And he just wasn't subtle with it.
No, like, legitimately, like, people at home, this person, like, had an elbow on the table, chin on the fist of that arm, and just the other hand is going over the D20 and lifting off without even moving the die.
Nuh-uh, I didn't cheat. Nuh-uh, I didn't do it.
You did. We saw you.
Nuh-uh.
You did, though.
Nuh-uh.
This is a compelling argument, but now
Nuh-uh.
we have to feed you to the sharks.
Nuh-uh.
And that is how George died.
Nuh-uh.
Maybe a little.
Just his leg. Just his leg that was missing.
My spider bite.
What about you, Sage?
I'm trying not to sneeze. So I've had many goofs and gaffs.
He has.
Yeah. Where to start? Okay, I'm going to start with the most infamous campaign I ever ran. And it's just the worst because there was so much I was trying to do that I thought was funny, and it just fell flat, and then the campaign became a mess. So this campaign is known among my friends and I as Nopes. Because in one of the texts, I think someone missent no please, and it just came out as Nopes. So it's been known as the Nopes campaign. So the premise of this campaign was, I was like, oh, I'm going to take Doctor Who and memes and put them together to make a comedic story that people just played. Because I wanted something that was more lighthearted, because I usually do more of a serious tone with my games. So the story starts with the characters finding, well, it started them at level 20, and the characters find a cottage in the middle of the woods that is strangely shaped like an old telephone booth. And they go in, and they find out it's bigger on the inside.
All right, so to save you right here, Sage, from the angry Doctor Who fans.
And they're out there.
Yes. So the double reason why it's called Nopus, to add on to this, is because the police box, not phone box, Sage, from Doctor Who,
Okay.
is called the TARDIS, time and relative dimension in space. So instead of the TARDIS, Nopus. That's all.
And he
Continue.
Doctor Who just nopes right out of here.
I just had to jump in before the Doctor Who people.
Well, you see. Anyways, the story starts with this teleporting cottage box that could just go wherever the characters thought it would be cool. Because I was thinking, what if I ran a campaign where they're going through different dimensions and this is their home base? And over time, they get really weird creatures. And if they play as wizards, they would build into this weird collection. Kind of like, I think the Lich Sirak. Sirak has his dungeons and stuff of his a collection of weird things. And I was like, well, let the characters be that. Let them become the weirdness. But I took the turn to add memes. So the first NPC they ran into was Kermit the Frog. Yeah. No.
Wah.
So
Wah.
I don't know. I was not high when I wrote this. No, this was normal Sage.
He was sober.
Yep, very sober.
Sober Sage is a whimsical creature.
Yeah. No, I can't argue with that. No. But so Kermit the Frog was under the rule of Miss Piggy.
That tracks.
Right? So I built a whole kingdom with these pig-like demons being ruled by Miss Piggy. And the characters were trying to break Kermit the Frog's curse to be free. And of course, all the Kermit the Frog memes were being used along the way. Like the dark side Kermit showed up and tried to change the characters to the dark side, and all those other good memes with like Kermit like drinking a nice glass. And eventually they find the dragon. And Miss Piggy is riding the dragon and chases the characters back into the box. And that was the last session we ever played of that campaign.
Because she chased us back into the box.
Yes. And Kermit was officially with them. And I could tell that everyone in the table was trying to be nice. But deep down inside, I could tell I was like, this is the worst campaign I have ever ran.
It sounds kind of like a retelling of Mario, but instead of Bowser, you have Miss Piggy, and Kermit is Princess Peach.
Dude, I had like strange spaghetti noodles running around trying to demand the characters stop squishing mushrooms.
So you
Like-
were 10 when you ran this, right?
No, I was in high school trying to expand my horizons.
This is what I mean by whimsical.
So I think I was also running during this time the very serious campaign where I was actually spending a lot of my time into. And this was more of an experiment. But yeah, every time that campaign is mentioned, everyone just kind of cringes.
Yeah, you threw so much spaghetti at the wall, you had noodle monsters.
Yeah. And an off-brand Doctor Who police box.
Dr. Pepper.
There you go.
Doctor Whom.
Yeah, that
Dr.
was
Pepper.
that was the worst campaign that I've ever ran.
I think the worst campaign I ever ran is when I was like 12 and I thought all the player characters were just NPCs, and I had a bunch of NPCs that I just made be the characters. And so it's just me yelling about what these characters do, and every now and then I'm like, what do you say?
So you essentially made a book and just had people sit down as you wrote the book.
Yeah. Yeah, what do you do when you're 12?
I don't know. I ran around with a lightsaber still.
I mean, I did that
Yeah,
too.
So
One of my favorite, I mean, I don't know if it's a goof or gaff, but it's definitely a funny moment. So this is the Star Wars campaign that we've talked about previously before, the legendary Star Wars game.
Totally.
But this isn't the
mythical.
main one. We haven't talked about this side one with you, Cody, very much. There's a side one that I ran for coworkers, and this involves Sage here. Sage wasn't my coworker, but he did join towards the tail end of this game. And they were playing as these two aliens that were investigating this droid anarchist uprising under the Hutts, and the Hutts wanted the aliens, the main characters, to put a stop to it. So they're going through, they're looking at the carnage that all these droids caused, and they hear something from outside. They hear something legendary, something spectacular from outside. What do you think it was, Cody?
Neil Patrick Harris.
No, but you're close.
What the? How?
So
What the fuck's
They see
about
this-
to happen?
they see this small, like, ball float down, kind of like what the Saiyans come down in Dragon Ball Z,
Ugh.
but larger, like a lot larger.
When you said ball, I pictured Wilson from Castaway.
No. So this ball comes down, and the planet that they're on is, like, toxic. The air you can't breathe in, so there's a special ray shield bubble around the full facility that they're investigating this uprising. So the ship goes through the shield effortlessly and lands onto a landing pad, and the door opens and smoke billows out as this large, slithering, grotesque hut comes out with a giant afro.
Oh no!
And the name of this hut is Abba the Hutt. And you want to know who made Abba the Hutt, Cody?
Was it you?
No. I'll give you a hint. He's sitting next to us.
No, Sid. Why would you be Abba the Hutt?
So
And then he came out and he proclaimed,
oh, this planet is such a bore.
and looked around, and the two coworkers who I'm running this game for, playing like these very serious aliens, investigating this droid uprising, had this Hutt come in on behalf of the Hutt family, because he's like the disappointing son of the Hutt family, to keep an eye on these investigators, and it went pretty great. You want to talk a little more about this stage?
Oh yeah, Abba the Hutt.
Elucidate me.
So Abba the Hutt, every time he talked, it was always like, like before he would even speak. And the whole premise behind Abba is he was a disappointment in the Hutt clan, because instead of wanting to be a crime lord, he wanted to be a musician, and he wanted to bring disco to the galaxy.
Okay, good. I'm glad the reference is coming.
Yes. So
Okay.
he
I
wanted
was legit gonna be upset.
he wanted to bring like goth metal, which is just going off the books. But no, he wanted to be better than Max Rebo himself.
Did he want to be a dancing queen?
Yes, he did.
Yes.
I made a reference or two
Yes.
to that.
Yes.
But like at one point, we found a corpse in the bathroom, and the head was just bobbing in the toilet.
For reference, how the corpse happened too. It's the thing in like a horror movie where you walk into somewhere and the ceiling tile or whatever just breaks and a body hangs out and like the head fell off of it into the toilet.
So
Gruesome.
I had Abba go, "Ooh," and unload an entire clip into the corpse, and then reload and unloaded another clip into the corpse before finally going, "Oh, it's dead," and slithering slowly into like the next battle, which the entire time my character just sat in the middle because there was no cover to really protect the HUD, and just kept going, "You can't hit me, I'm Amma." No one hit him because George just rolled like crap against Abba.
The power of belief is powerful, man. I have like so much I want to say.
Oh, you forgot the curling mustache too.
God.
Did he have a
Yeah,
curling
he had
mustache?
like that really
I'm
long.
sorry, I forgot
curling.
about the curling.
You forgot about the
mustache
curling
Is
mustache.
it like the Nigel Thornberry?
Oh yeah. With
I
the-
forgot. Yeah, I don't remember that. All I remember is the afro and
and like disco lights coming out of the spaceship.
I want to know whose hair he glued to his face, because like, slugs can't grow hair.
no, they can't. That's
So
the question.
Where did Abba the Hutt get the hair?
It's a Hut trade secret. You can look at me like that, but it's a Hut trade secret. I cannot tell you.
I don't know why, but someone's upset. Someone that's listening right now has heard this whole story and is crying. So that's
Of joy.
Dude, like you don't want to hear the
Cody's shaking his head.
oh, disgusting.
that character sounds like the villain from an 80s college movie. Like, oh, you have detention with me.
You pretty much got the laugh too.
It just sounds like you're slightly choking on something.
Yeah, yeah.
It just was interesting with the party too, because the party was, besides him, because he was a, what was the class? It was like corporate emissary or something like that.
It was like a corporate agent.
Yeah, you were a corporate agent, and the other two characters were a medic and a Jedi.
And like the players' faces were the best part, because when I slithered down from the ship and the lights like reflected off of my bedazzled clothing, the players went from, "Oh, this is a cool entrance," to, "What is that?" They didn't say anything until like the description was over, and then one of them went, "Okay, why are you here?" And then my character went, "Hush now, I'm taking over."
So I suppose what makes us a goof and a gaff is that
This falls into the realm of faux pas, I think.
yeah, is that one, I allowed him to do both of these things.
Yeah, a mistake.
And
Whoa, hey, this was not a mistake.
two, the players who were in it, my coworkers, they originally approached me because this is their first time playing a tabletop role-playing game, and they talked to me. They're like, "Hey, George, I heard you run TTRPG games. Can you be in, can you run something for us?"
Yeah, we don't want any funny business either.
And I was like, "Yeah, I'll run Star Wars." And they're like, "Great, we love Star Wars." And I talked to Sage, and I'm like, "Hey, I'm running these things for my coworkers. There's only 2 players, and we could really use a third because that would really complete the party." And he's like, "I got you." And I was like, "All right, what do you want to make?" And he's said, "Well, I want to make a hut."
Yeah.
Like,
Of course he
I'm
did.
like, "How?" And we figured it out, and it was a mistake.
When there's a will, there's a way.
It was not a mistake. My Hut scored some pretty timely crits.
Did he?
He did. In his head.
You can, mistakes often lead to art.
So you're calling Abba the Hut art.
No, I'm calling him a mistake, but mistakes can lead to art.
I mean,
That's my love child right there. That's my inner personality just coming out and dazzling hut fashion.
I mean, in a way, because this actually brings up another thing, is that one of those players, believe it or not, decided, like maybe this isn't too bad for whatever reason after playing this game, and ended up playing in one of Sage's games after, in that serious game that he was talking about. He was playing in that, and he played as a turtle, and that was a great character.
Dude, I love a turtle.
His character's name was Yordle the Turtle.
No, it wasn't.
Was it?
No, it was Polnareff, which is a JoJo reference.
Was it Polnareff?
I feel like
I thought it was Yordle. Who
No,
was
it's a
saying
Polnareff.
Yordle?
It was like
Sage.
Polnareff or Polnareff. I don't know how it
Man, I just had an old man moment. It's like,
Sage.
this is his name. No,
is
it wasn't.
Yordle the turtle your character?
No,
Are you sure?
I'm pretty sure.
Sounds like something your sister would make.
Yeah, it does.
No, we have to get my sister here to discuss Morta. And probably any other character she's ever played. She makes hysterical characters. Oh, a goof that I had the pleasure of not being the one creating the goof, but witnessing, was George was in my campaign, and this campaign actually would lead to one of the modules I wrote, which was Winter's Woe. And Winter's Woe is a really fun story, but this was the D&D version before I converted it into a Forbidden Lands version.
I'm going to say Winter's Woe doesn't sound like there would be fun.
No.
It sounds like it would be a bad time.
So the premise of their story is they were hunting this beast. And as they were hunting this beast, they found different types of tracks. And the snow around the area had melted away, and the ground was being revealed. And this was like a heavy frosted area that sees snowfall regularly throughout the year. And so all this snow had melted, and it just had this strange slithering pattern.
It was a
With-
Charizard.
Kind of. not exactly the Pokemon,
Wow,
but
didn't think that would work.
But they follow the tracks into this icy cavern, and as they come into the icy cavern, they're looking around, and suddenly they start to feel very warm. And shooting up from the ice is Remoraz. And those who don't know what Remoraz is, take a giant centipede with icy plates all along its back, 16 eyes in the front of its head with a spine of flame on its back, and its belly is glowing hot like magma. This is the description I used. And the snow along its body is actually melting off its body because of the heat. So the battle starts. Sophia's character, the barbarian Mortar, rushes in. Another character decided to try and run away from it. I scored a natural 20. He gets eaten by the Remoraz. And another character tries to retreat because they're taking too much damage. And then George's turn comes up.
I stood my ground, ladies and gentlemen.
What? You stand ground?
I do.
Wow.
Would you like to take over?
I looked at the Remoraz right in the eyes, and I said, I know what you're thinking. Do you have 6 spell slots or only 5? Well, to tell you the truth, during all this excitement, I think I have forgotten myself. So let me ask you a question. Are you feeling lucky? Well, do you, punk? And guess what? I did.
What?
I had a 5th level slot. Guess what I used? Guess what I casted, Cody? There's only one choice. There's only one choice of what you can cast.
Ray of Frost.
No.
Prestidigitation.
No.
Prestidigitation. Prestidigitation.
No.
Prestidigitation? I've run out of ideas.
I casted Fireball.
Whoa. Okay.
And I sent this giant... Well, I mean, I pointed my finger at it. And I sent that small flame, which turned into a giant ball of fire.
And you said, here's the point.
And it hit it. And I said, you know what? I did quite a bit of damage. It's 5th level. But guess what? It was made out of fire. And Remoraz is immune to fire.
So, George proudly points at the creature, rolls all the damage. I didn't even like stop him.
It was a lot of damage.
It was like close to max. And he went, "This creature's dead." And I looked at him and I went, "You watch as the fire hits its molten body and rolls off it like nothing happened." And George went, "Oh." And my sister turned and went, "It literally had the snow melting off of it." He gave you this big hint. So the party almost gets wiped in this battle. But George's character hasn't been touched.
I've avoided it because I'm such a pro.
And like characters are dying. A character dies in the stomach of the Remoras. And as the Remoras turns, they did enough damage for George to just go a level 1 magic missile. And he rolled just enough damage to kill it. And his character proudly proclaimed that he did the battle all by himself.
I did. I saved the day, Sage. I saved the day.
Yeah,
It was glorious.
What a like absolutely like sail unwinding moment.
Another great story that happened to me. So George is running his Sindonia campaign, and we just started going into the Underdark. And we rolled to see a random encounter. And I think we're, level 2?
Yeah.
Level 2. So we're level 2. We're on a sailboat, or a rowboat. My character's just sitting there in his chainmail armor, sharpening his sword, puts it in his scabbard. George smiles, laughs, and then says, "Sage, I want you to make a dex savings throw." Naturally, as a paladin in full chainmail, I fail. And he then...
No, everybody had to make that deck save. It wasn't just for Sage.
Oh, was it everybody?
Yeah.
Because I thought I came from straight down.
Oh, true.
And then the second one.
It was you. I rolled to see who would hit, and it was you.
So
yeah,
my character's just sitting in a boat when a mind flare on a bridge above us that we didn't know us shoots a single 3rd level spell lightning bolt down upon my character and just sinks my part of the boat with my character down. And my character just goes, "Oh," as he sinks.
He's wearing all metal and he's in water.
Yeah.
So our friend Jamie dives into the water, pulls my character out. They revive me. I get up for the mind flare to shoot another lightning bolt at the whole party for my character to go back into the water and go, "Oh."
Wow. Did your character like classical music? Because he's quite the conductor.
So here's the thing.
God.
So here's the thing. This is a random encounter in Xanathar's book, I believe, for Underdark encounters. You can roll for a mind flare. Like that can happen. And like there's levels to it too, like encounters for different levels. This was set up for level 2. And I was like, "Whoa, okay." And yeah.
That's a bulge level 2.
Yeah, it was. I was like, okay, that's a level 2 Underdark encounter, random mind flare.
My character lived, but he was a little shocked after that.
Yeah, you have to like walk out of the river at the bottom of the river.
No, like how the battle ended was my character watched as the barbarian grappled the mind flare underwater, and as they struggled in Sindonia, holy magic is rare. Because I was underwater, I decided to smite, and I took my sword with disadvantage, and I got the smite, and killed the mind flare after he shocked the living daylights out of me.
Yeah. Stunning effect, sir.
Yeah. Oh.
Uh-oh.
I have plenty of stories. I think the next story I want to tell is about the Eternal Blunt.
Oh
no.
This sounds like an item I'd like to have in real life.
Oh my god.
You remember this, George?
Yes, I do.
Well, what was the village we found?
Long Saddle.
Long Saddle.
Blunsylvania.
This wasn't even something that our friend came up with. He found something online. Whoever you are, if you're listening to this, I hate you.
You shall burn in my holy fires.
So, do you care if I explain this one?
No, go for it.
So, our friend is running a 5th edition D&D game that takes place in the Forgotten Realms. Now, we're walking down this road. We've been traveling for a while. We were at Waterdeep before, was it?
Yes.
Waterdeep has been taken over by orcs. Something happened. I'm not going to get into it. And we escaped. So we're all a little battered, and we're like, we really need to find some place to lay low, rest, recover from this battle that we just had and lost. And we were down in the dumps. So we stumbled upon this town named Longsaddle. In the middle of the road. It's just there. It's something that I think it exists on the Forgotten Realms map. Somebody online made a homebrew of what Longsaddle looks like. I don't know if there's more lore behind it. I'm sorry, but this is what our friend did, and this is what we're telling about. So we enter this town, and it's like lifeless. And we find the inn. We go in. The town seems to start to pick up a little bit outside. And there's like a few gnomes in the inn, and they're like high, like they're out there.
They're gone.
Yeah, they're gone. They're seeing things. Their eyes are bloodshot red, and they're very stereotypical looking gnomes. They're just sitting down. They got these red pointy caps on. They're very pleased with themselves, and they are the proprietor of this inn. So we walk up and say, hey, we would like to get some rooms. And my character was the one who went up and asked. And the gnomes were like, well, you can. But in a gesture of good faith, please take a hit of this everlasting blunt.
Good. Those are good hosts.
And they have a blunt that's everlasting. It's a magical blunt. It's a magic item. And my character looked at it, and my character was a fighter with more of a code of ethics, and he didn't take to those things very well, and he said thanks, but no thanks.
Don't do drug.
And what proceeded to happen was pure shenanigans of, like, the furniture in the house attacking us, things going topsy-turvy, rooms going upside down, hallways changing, us not being able to leave, doors appearing and closing, and
my horse wanting tap shoes.
His horse wanting tap shoes. Animals were talking to us. Like, if there was whiskey or, like, anything in this inn, it was something from, like, Alice in Wonderland. We entered Wonderland and nothing made sense.
Yeah, it's a real trip.
And we tried everything. We thought it was like a puzzle or like a magic spell. Ethan tried to use dispel magic, thinking it was a giant illusion. No, I just remember, and this is what I remember. You could probably fill in the details. How it ended was one of the gnomes smiling with this oversized smile with his eyes slightly narrowed, and he just goes, all right, and hands us the blunt, and the town disappeared. And that was the entire session. This was not just like an hour gag. No, this went on for 5 hours.
Wow. I can't stop thinking about the everlasting blunt personally. Kids, don't do drugs if you're listening. Be a legal adult and be responsible. But, like, boy, howdy, as a 32-year-old man, I'd hang with those gnomes.
It's just, no. My character literally tried to kill them because he would not let them go.
You're saying gnome wrong. It's gnome, not gnome.
I'm sorry.
Thank you. Thank you for understanding that. One goof that I've done, have I talked about Tales of Ferdola yet on here?
No.
I don't believe so.
So in one of my homebrew settings, I made this little, like, I had an idea about, like, an untamable island called Ferdola. And for those listening at home and for the people listening in the room, Ferdola is an anagram for Florida. And so I wanted to make this little fantasy island that was an untamable land. Like, so many people tried to settle it and tame it, but it's untamable. So it's essentially a penal colony now. And, like all the bad boys and girls and in-betweens from across the land are sent to this place. If, like, they are I don't know, just 'cause. And so the party I ran one session in this, and the party gets to Ferdola, and what they end up finding out is there's a colony, like a strip of land where there's some buildings and people are living there and working there and trying to make a life. But the party finds out people are getting kidnapped, so they start investigating, and they end up getting led out to this mansion that's like in the boonies. And as they're going through the mansion, they find some traps, but they end up finding this document that talks about this thing called the Government. And they find this governor, I can't remember what I named the character in this, but for the sake of this, we'll call him DeSantis. And DeSantis was kidnapping a bunch of the residents to try and claim ultimate power from a demon.
Of course he was.
Yep. Oh, come on. I had a point. I can't remember the original point, but it ended with like the party finding him, and he was just this, "Oh, you're never going to catch me. I'm Governor DeSantis." And he's like running around on the ceiling and trying to stop the party. The bard ends up throwing her lute at him and knocking him off the ceiling with a critical hit.
Oh, speaking of the ceiling, that ties perfectly into this great story. So,
What?
you'll remember this, George. I think you were there.
Okay.
So my brother was
raise the roof.
My brother was running a campaign, and we entered this battle. And I have to tell another story after this. We entered this battle because we were fighting dragons, and we were fighting Tiamat, who was starting to come back into the world. And so we're desperately trying to fight through the dragons, find information to stop Tiamat from returning to the mortal plane. And for those of you who don't know, Tiamat is a 5-headed dragon and is the devil goddess of the chromatic dragons. So we are fighting this green dragon, and our characters go in, and this is my character, Merc. Merc was my goblin bard who didn't believe in vowels, and in the first session, accidentally burned down a whole ship trying to cook bacon. So, chaos. But the story's not about Merc in this. It's about a druid who is played by Joe. And Joe is a friend from high school. And Joe, if you're listening to this, I hope you're doing well, man. But this moment was one of the best things that has ever happened. Because what he did is he turned into a spider on his first turn. And as the battle went on, Marcel described the ceilings as incredibly tall, like this great, great cathedral. I think it was like 70 or 80 feet that he described these ceilings, like something that was so grand it was almost impossible to make. And Joe kept climbing as the spider and kept climbing. And like turn 4, the dragon's probably at half its hit points. And we're doing our best to take it down. And then it comes to Joe's turn. Joe smiles, looks at my brother, and goes, "Hey, can I turn into a dinosaur above the dragon?" And my brother goes, "Yeah, but you'll fall." And he goes, "That's okay. I want to turn into an Allosaurus, the biggest possible dinosaur he could think of." And so from like 80 feet in the air, his turn was to fall and sit on the head of the dragon with all the force of gravity.
Wow.
So our characters, who are barely hanging on for life, watch as the dragon goes to breathe its breath weapon, and we're about to make saves as this big fat ass dinosaur smashes in the skull of the dragon and then turns and look at us and go, "Ow." And that's how that big battle ended. And this was also the same dungeon that had bathroom dragons.
Did you say bathroom?
You heard me.
What is their breath weapon? Sewer water?
No. It's dragons that like to ambush you while you're in the bathroom.
No.
So here's what happens.
No.
We tried to
no goddamn respect.
So we tried to sneak into the castle through the sewers, and we managed to do it. Start to climb up through the toilets,
Like
and
ninjas.
Yeah,
That's what ninjas would do.
yeah, exactly.
Poo-poo ninjas.
So we climb through the toilets,
That's what they were.
and we get in. We're all stinky, and suddenly the door swings open, and this human walks in, and the human goes, I've been expecting you. And suddenly it starts to transform before us as its jaw elongates, and it turns into a full red dragon in a stall that's only 10 feet wide. So the dragon transforms and gets stuck in the bathroom stall. And my brother goes to use its breath weapon, and all of us are like, how? It's stuck in the bathroom.
Wait. If it used its breath weapon, would everything explode from the methane?
There was so many issues because he described him trying to bite the character, but because the character was behind, we were like, well, then isn't his head stuck that way because the dragon's too big to fit in the stall? And my brother's face went, oh no, it's stuck. And to his credit, instead of getting upset about it, he just started laughing and went, well, it uses its tail. We just killed the dragon in the bathroom and shoved it down the toilet. So then, like, the dragon's body is sticking out of the toilet, and its, like, tongue is hanging out.
It's like the Austin Powers movie. Just like, damn, boy, what'd you eat?
Yeah, and we were like, well, we now have to beware of dragons who ambush us in the bathroom because they're getting creative with their attacks.
Props to Marcel for just being like, we've all made choices today, and I'll stand by mine.
What he did great was in that scene, he had this moment where he wanted to fight it, and then he just let it happen. He was just like, this is funny. and I think as a DM, that's just like a really good way to go about it.
Yeah, that's the spirit you gotta have.
Yeah, because I've made rules as a DM. George, you were here for this one, where I built a long ship for the party to go and raid, and this was in my private world that I built. And on the long ship, they were running out of fresh water, but they were on a river. So they said, okay, we're going to use a bucket on our ship to get us fresh water. Smart. You know what I ruled? There are no buckets on boats.
Let the silence answer your questions.
It's about to get better. Guess who I said this to? 5 people who grew up on the docks.
Oh, no.
In Gloucester. Who worked with fishermen.
Yeah.
My dad went, what do you mean it doesn't have a boat? Now, here's what I was ruling. In their inventory, they didn't have a bucket. So my brain went, you have no bucket. The common sense of people who've been on a water is almost every single person has a bucket. So then one of my dad's friends started giving me a really hard time, and he was like, fine, I'm going to use one of my special abilities to summon a magic item. And so for me to retcon it, I said he found a bucket that always fills with fresh water.
Okay.
He just laughed and went, you ass.
Well, you have a bucket now.
Yeah.
It's just already got water in it.
Now, I think this is a good point to talk about the beauty of Goofs and Gaffs in these games. It's not the Goofs and Gaffs that make you. You make the Goofs and Gaffs.
It's true. I have like a couple pretty fun gaffy goofs. Goofy Gaffs. Do you guys remember the character I talked about, Fenris Dragonheart, in one of our earlier episodes?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Character I had in like the 6-7 year long campaign we played. And I have so we're high level at this point. We're in like the end game, like getting close to level 20. We're at the interdimensional part of this game, where it was like the sort of futuristic fantasy kind of vibes. And my character is chaotic good. He is Fenris Dragonheart, the interdimensional rock star was the concept. And so like he thinks everyone's happy to see him all the time is sort of his frame of reference. And so we're trying to find this character that's going to give us some information. It's like this ancient Sphinx character. We get brought to this like kind of like this interdimensional neutral zone called Halo.
Great game.
Great game. Not that Halo. We're gonna get sued. We're sued. We just got sued.
Bill Gates hates us.
We just got sued for saying Bill Gates. We're just so sued.
I mean, we said DeSantis earlier. I think that's the least of
We're sued.
Okay,
Oh man,
we've
been sued so many times.
Yeah.
So like we're trying. So we get to this like meeting spot. So it's like a big nightclub essentially, and we're all in there and we're trying to figure out how to like get to like find the character. We don't know how to like get in touch with them. So we're in this nightclub and my character just has the idea. It's like, I'm going to say his name really loud. And I had this ability called Vortex Scream, which is just a really loud scream that shatters everything nearby. So I did that to say his name, and like just picture the scene where like everyone's hanging, having a good time, and I'm there and I'm just like, that guy's name, and everything is silent. Everyone's looking at me and I'm like, what? And then you just hear the big stompy feet, and like just from behind me the Sphinx appears and looks down at me, and I'm like, what's everyone looking at? Why you mad? And then he just hits me out a window. Because, like, we're level 18, but the Sphinx is, like, level, like, CR 27. He's having none of my shit today.
See, I see in my head, you, like, look behind, and as you do, you don't even have a time to speak as this, like, gentle smack sent you flying as if this was a Dragon Ball Z cartoon.
Yeah.
You just like smash into a mountain nearby.
Yep. I have one other instance that happened. So Fenris was the son of Bahamut, and he gets to go to God heaven eventually, but like no one knows who he is at this point. And they get to like these gates. They're like essentially big pearly gates, and on either side of the gates are two gigantic golden dragon statues. And they say I can't remember exactly what they say, but like they say something about like, if you want entry, you must show us the dragon. And my character's like, oh, you want to see the dragon? I'll show you the dragon. And my friend Steve, he's playing a character. He's like the leader of, we're called the Rogues in Red. And he's the leader of our little, like, he's like the captain of our ship. And he's like, don't show them the dragon, Fenris. Don't do it. And I'm like, I'm showing him the dragon. He's like, don't show them the dragon. And then I take off my pants and I show them the dragon. I say, here's the dragon. And then one of those fucking gold dragon golems grabs me and throws me away.
I feel it.
The amount of times I get team rocketed in that campaign, like
I just feel like this is your character's thing. It's like it's not a full session until you are shot across the earth and smash into something.
Yep. Yeah, and then hit the ground and be like, okay.
This is the way.
I've had many like funny moments. I like to play more of serious characters, where my sister, she in our recent campaign, she played as a Kenku, and she decided to go with the really hardcore Kenku, where you're not able to make words or sentences until you hear those words. So the entire time she has a sheet of paper in front of her, and she writes words she hears our characters say. And my character's like this very devout knight to what they call the one god. And he's trying to spread this religion through like being noble and peaceful.
Mm-hmm.
And as she's trying to learn new words, my character bends down and goes, one true god good. But she learned ass and dipshit earlier in the campaign.
Oh, no.
So she looked back, made this bird-like face, smacked her lips, and went, "One true god, dipshit ass." And like, I could not keep my character. I started howling with laughter. And then she's this oversized bird. Take a big basketball, put two little legs, and then give it big beady eyes with an oversized beak. That is her character that she plays. She rolls more than she walks. And she's going around calling everyone a dipshit asshole.
Now, I have a good one that I kind of want you to talk about, Sage. Do you want to talk about Alex and the Second Inquisition with the car?
Oh, God.
Yeah, that's a good story.
I feel like that's a good one to... one more to before we
Yeah, we get
cap off.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is Vampire the Masquerade. And Alex is kind of a character where I have a love-hate relationship. Some cool things the character did made the character stand out.
Is it like the same level of love and hate as Kark?
No, Alex was more that it was just bad timing for me to be playing vampire.
He's just misunderstood, man. He's misunderstood. You don't get it, man.
You, Sage, were you brooding?
I kind of. There was a lot going on, but the whole premise with Alex was he is a vampire who's dying of cancer, and
was past tense, right?
So and what happens is his sire and him were kind of having a fling as he's dying, and he didn't want to die just yet because he just started his life, and he was a punk vocalist. So he loved to sing all these different punk songs, and he loved to go to the shows, and he was dying. And he decided to basically say to who would be his future sire, it's like, make sure my parents think I'm dead, but I will continue to live on. And he is sired into the Toreador clan and becomes a vampire. And his only goal is he wants to just kind of be a musician. He wants to create a society of musicians and a more peaceful society. But he gets kind of entangled in vampires who are trying to politically climb in their clans or sects or try to take out rivals, and then accidentally gets entwined into the Second Inquisition. So what happens is my character meets up with my sisters, my moms, and another character, and we're driving in a taxi, and suddenly helicopters and I think was it an APC or were they cop cars?
It was everything.
It was like everything.
It was a full hunt.
Take GTA 5, go to 5 stars. That's what was hunting us. So you have helicopters, APCs, military personnel.
They fucked up.
And like my character was just coming back from a gig and decided to help these people when shit hit the fan. So we're driving, and my character's driving with the car, and I'm dodging bullets, snipers, you name it, people trying to take me off the road. And my character looks back to the other kindred and goes, "Jump when I say so." And they jump out of the car as we're passing a place of deep shadow where they lose sight of, I think it was like under a bridge or something. And my character continues to drive on. And I'm like thinking, okay, I have a plan. I'm a vampire. I don't need oxygen. I'm going to drive off a bridge. So I continue to maneuver as the SI is chasing me, trying to give them off. I'm like, okay, this is going to work perfectly. I hit the edge of the railing. My car sails over, plunging deep into the icy cold water, it crushing my body. And I go, ha. And my dad looks at me and goes, "You go into torpor." And I go, "Why?" He was like, "Because you weren't wearing your seatbelt." And I went, "What?" He's like, "You're not wearing your seatbelt." I was like, "What do you mean?" It's like, "You went from the back seat to the front seat and never said you put on your seatbelt." So my character got captured by the SI because I didn't wear my seatbelt.
That's rough.
Yeah. Which to this day, including future stories that I've told, people have always said when they get into a vehicle, "I put on my seatbelt." Every single time I put on my seatbelt.
It carried over to Mike Chronicle, and that was me running it, not his dad. And all the players in that were like, "I'm not toying with fate."
Even if like nothing is really going on, they'll like look at us just like pale, their eyes wide with fear, and they go, "I put on my seatbelt." And George is like, okay, put on your seatbelt.
You heard it here first, kids. Wear your seatbelt.
Or the SI will get you.
They will. So thank you guys for listening to this wonderful episode of What the Bones Say. Sage, George, always a pleasure. And I think to end this episode, I'm going to leave us with a joke. What do you call a vampire that works at the post office?
What do you call a vampire who works at the post
A
office?
Stampire. A goddamn Stampire. Okay?
Oh, I thought you were going to say postal or something.
What do you call your sire? Your grandpire.
I'm so sorry, folks. We should have just ended it here. But thank you so much for joining us. We'll be back with better jokes next time. Have a good one.